Attention bowlers, we are going to get started. From Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, welcome to the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. This is a doubleheader tonight. In Class B, we have John Alosa versus Paul Metivier, and in Class E, we have Kristen Poirier versus Todd Holbrook. Again, my name is Steve Kelly, and I'll be your host, narrator, and guide during this Class B and E North doubleheader match today. Don't call it breaking and entering. It's Class B and E in the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Good as always to have you along with us. Originally live streamed on Monday, September 23rd, 2024, and available for rewatching anytime upon the conclusion of this match. Folks, for those interested, I'd like to highlight a few things. First, in most cases, this broadcast should have subtitles and live captioning enabled, so please feel to enable those in the controls below if you are interested. Additionally, the transcript feature will also likely be available later on if you're watching this on YouTube. And next, throughout the match, I'll describe the play-by-play action and provide up-to-the-minute scoring to the best of my ability. Keep an eye on the unofficial scoreboard on your screen. It is here for the benefit of the broadcast, while the bowlers maintain their official records separately. Scores may be subject to review or correction. And we're starting off. That's Paul Metivier on the head pin with a 9 drop almost immediately, leaving the 6 pin. And John Alosa will do exactly the same thing. Ball per ball, box per box. It's 1-to-1 action here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, and that's Paul Metivier starting out with a spare. John Alosa trying to do the same thing, but can't quite match exactly what Paul Metivier is serving up as the home bowler, Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Instead, John Alosa will take a 10 box. This head-to-head action, 10-to-10. Metivier on a mark. Alosa still hunting for one. Metivier will take a 5 box off to the left of the head pin on the crossover. Alosa's answer is a crossover to the left side, leaving the 4 horsemen right side, but pins are still falling. Metivier on the 4 horsemen right side and the 8. Will he steal the head pin? He won't. And we'll just pause for a quick score correction. So, folks, what I'm going to do tonight is I might call something every once in a while that may be out of sync with the scores, but what we're going to do tonight is we're going to stay in sync with the scores on the scoreboard that the bowlers are maintaining down there, just to keep everything in sync. No marks for either of our bowlers. Metivier is going for the head pin. He'll take a 10 box. Now we have John Alosa, his answer. He'll chop out a few for a 9 box. That puts Alosa at 19 after 2 and Paul Metivier at 25 after 5. In sync with the electronic scoreboard. Metivier on lane 16 on the head pin. Another head pin shot. It's a 6 drop on the diamond left side. Alosa with a head pin and a split shot, 7 drop. Now Metivier on the left side diamond. Will he break it? Almost does. The 8 pin remains, even though it gets touched. And John Alosa can't break his split. John Alosa with the 4 pin, Metivier with the 8 pin. Both bowlers shooting for a 10 box. Metivier will miss his for a 9. Alosa will take his for a 10, kicking the wood. If you're new to the ACST or Candlepin bowling in general, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you and hope you enjoy this match and the unique sport of Candlepin bowling. If you are a returning viewer, I also welcome you back. Your continued viewership is greatly appreciated. If you like this content, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel for more exciting matches. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comments. That's Paul Metivier starting out with a light ball, crossing over past the head pin and missing it. And Alosa will cross right and miss the head pin as well. Metivier on the 1-5-3-6-8-9. Fires on the head pin a little bit too full, chops out a few more, leaving 3 on the deck. Alosa will take a few more out, leaving the 1 on the 7. No marks for either of our bowlers. Metivier versus a 7, 8, 9, or 10 box possibility here. And he'll take a 10. It's Paul Metivier's 10 box in the 4th, putting him at 44. Alosa will take 8. Metivier is at 44 on my scoreboard, though it appears he has 42 on their scoreboard, and Alosa is in sync at 37. And it's been corrected. Metivier. Paul Metivier on the head pin, dropping all but the 7 pin. Alosa gets by. Metivier 3 for 5 on head pins so far. Alosa 2 for 5 on head pins so far. Metivier will fire first, and he'll take a spare to finish his half. 54 and a ball. Alosa will miss the head pin again to the right. So now he's shooting for a 10 box on the 1, 5, 6, and 8, if I'm not mistaken. He'll chop out the head pin and take a 7 box. That gesture he made that said it all. So Alosa will sit on a 44 half. Metivier with 2 marks is at 54 and a ball, and that is confirmed in sync with the automatic score system. Meanwhile, we're going to move over to our Class E event tonight. We have Kristen Poirier and Todd Holbrook. Kristen Poirier, the away bowler, on the left, and Todd Holbrook, our home bowler, on the right. You sure can. And Todd Holbrook will start out to the left of the head pin. And Kristen will do this. Kristen will start out to the right of the head pin. So Holbrook on the bouquet of pins in the center. He misses off to the right. And Poirier, her second ball is going to be a better ball in the head pin. She fires a couple more, leaving 3 on the deck. No mark for either of our bowlers. They're cleaning up. Holbrook will take 8. Oops. And Poirier will take a 9. That's where we're starting out for this Class E action tonight. Let's talk about our away bowler, Kristen Poirier, first. Kristen Poirier has bowled 1 match in the ACST so far. This is her debut season in Class E North Division 1. She started at 10-4 in a home match. That's a 2.50 win-loss ratio. Meanwhile, that is Todd Holbrook on the head pin and dropping 8. Kristen gets by to the left. Holbrook for a spare. Won't quite get it. Now Kristen Poirier for her spare shot. Ball curves in, but a little bit too late. Chops 1 more out. Holbrook for a 10 box. He cleans up. Holbrook is at 18 after 2. Kristen Poirier will take a 6 for 15 after 2. So far, Kristen Poirier has been averaging 96.4 from the 1 match she's played at home. Her high single is 123, her high single is 482, and Todd Holbrook will commit a right side half Worcester. Kristen Poirier needs to reset because a pin fell from the pin setter when it was resetting the lane. Pausing for quick lane reload. So Kristen had 2 strikes, 6 spares, and 7 tens in her first match against Chase Abramczyk. Excuse me if that pronunciation is wrong. My apologies. Kristen took 10 points against Chase with a 482 series, averaging 96.4. Again, 2 strikes, 6 spares, 7 tens. Kristen bowled a 90, a 123, a 91, an 84, and a 94 in her inaugural match in the ACST. It's her first season in the ACST. She's married to Mark Poirier. Kristen Poirier on the head pin with a split 6 drop. Let's take a look at what we got down there. Kristen's got the 3-6-4-7. Todd Holbrook almost converting the right side half Worcester for a spare, but he leaves the 5 pin and the 5 pin only with some wood. Kristen for a mark. She'll play the 6 pin. Todd Holbrook for a 10 box. The wind up, the pitch, and he'll take a 9. Wood deflects the ball. And Kristen will take a couple more sticks for a 9 box to match Todd Holbrook's 9. And at the moment, that should put Kristen Poirier at 24 after 3 and Holbrook at 27 after 3. That is your score update here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. And Todd Holbrook will fire off to the 10 pin. No head pin. Kristen Poirier will take a split on the head pin. 4 drops so far. Kristen Poirier, the 4-6-2-7-9-10. Todd Holbrook almost converting for a spare once again. That's two conversions on the spare that almost go. Great second ball for Todd Holbrook. Kristen Poirier will take out 3 more for the road. No marks for either of our bowlers. Todd Holbrook on lane 16 for a 10 box at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And he'll take 9. Kristen Poirier will take 8. Kristen Poirier is at 32 after 3. Todd Holbrook is at 36 after 4. Excuse me. After 4 for both of our bowlers, not after 3. Too many 3s. Should talk about 10s. Let's look for some strikes here. Todd Holbrook crosses over to the left of the headpin. Kristen Poirier is on the headpin for a split. Pins are still figuring things out down there. Holbrook for a spare conversion. He's been good at these so far, barring one pin not falling, but he's a little less lucky that time around. Kristen on a difficult split. She plays the wood a little bit off target, leaving the 2, the 5, and the 10. Todd Holbrook versus the 5, 6, 3, and 8 for a 10 box. Todd Holbrook will take 8. Kristen Poirier, meanwhile, looks like that ball's going to be off target for a 7 box. To conclude the half, and that should put Kristen Poirier at 39 after 5 and Todd Holbrook at 44 after 5, and that is confirmed all around for all 4 of our bowlers tonight here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, busy house. People are starting to pour in now for leagues and such, as is expected on Monday night at Leda Lanes. Popular house, popular everything. Leda Lanes opened in 1959. Family-owned and operated Candlepin Bowling Center in Nashua, New Hampshire on Amherst Street. That's John Alosa on the headpin. Pin still falling. Headpin in a split shot. Metivier on his fill is 5. He's just to the right of the headpin. Alosa's got the 7-10-4. With a piece of wood in front of the 4 that may or may not be helpful, you got to cap it in some way, and he tries that, but he only takes the 10 out. Paul Metivier versus the 4 horseman left side and the 9 pin. And he'll play it. He'll play the head pin. A little bit off angle, leaving 3 pins. Alosa will take an 8 box. Metivier will take a 7. That puts Metivier at 76 after 6 and John Alosa at an uncharacteristic 52 after 6. John Alosa is often known for marks, is having trouble finding them at the moment here in this first game of 5. Alosa fires on the headpin. He drops 7, gets a split. Metivier on lane 15 on the headpin, and that's a strike. That's our first strike of the night for Paul Metivier. John Alosa for the spare. He'll also get a spare. He'll complete it. Marks for both of our bowlers here. Metivier 76 after 7 and a fill. Alosa 62 and a ball. We will find out the results of those fills right now. John Alosa not on the headpin, but fills with 7. And Paul Metivier not on target, but he drops 6 so far. Let's see what John Alosa can do. John Alosa will spare it up. Double spare for John Alosa. Metivier, meanwhile, misses the headpin just by a hair. Heartbreaking whenever that happens. So Metivier shooting for 6 or greater, and 6 fill on the strike. Metivier will clean up for, it looks like it's going to be a 9 box. 79 and a ball for John Alosa. 91 after 8 for Paul Metivier. Confirmed in sync with the automatic score system at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. New automatic score system provided by Quebec AMF. Same system that was also recently installed at Academy Lanes in Haverhill, Massachusetts. John Alosa with an interesting 5 fill off the headpin. Metivier gets by with a half Worcester on the right side. Alosa on lane 16. For the spare, he plays the headpin. Pin's still settling, but it won't be a mark. Could be an 8 box or higher for John Alosa. Metivier for the follow-up. And it looks like we have a wiggly 7-pin, but no mark for Metivier either. And looks like we're just making sure some scores are correct down there. I will pause and give you any updates if anything is different from what I see back here. I'll actually assess at the end of this box just because they're in the middle of a frame. John Alosa will take 10. Metivier will take 7. Alosa should read 94, and Metivier should read 98. Alosa's is correct, and Paul's is also correct. Yes. There we go. Actually just took me a second just to parse that for a moment, but John Alosa gets by to the left of the head pin, crossing over. Metivier to the right, dropping 5. Dropping 6, actually, late falling 7-pin. John Alosa for a spare. He leaves the 5 and the 9. Metivier 1, 2, 4, and 8. He's off target. No marks for either of our bowlers. Alosa for an 8, 9, or 10. He'll take 9. He'll finish at 103. Metivier will take a 9 of his own. Metivier will take the first game with 107 to John Alosa's 103, and that is confirmed on the scoreboard down there. Appreciate you watching. This is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, Class B and E, North doubleheader. Don't call it breaking and entering, because it ain't. Anyways, let's say hi to our second pair of the night. Kristen Poirier and Todd Holbrook. Todd Holbrook on the left this time in the dark green, and Kristen Poirier on the right. Kristen Poirier leads off on lane 16. Kristen Poirier's on the head pin, dropping 6 with a split. Todd Holbrook, meanwhile, leading off on the head pin. 6 drops so far, pin still wiggling. It's going to be a split for both of our bowlers. Kristen has the more possible spare shot, and she gets it. Check that out, Kristen Poirier with a spare. That puts Kristen Poirier at 49 in a ball. Todd Holbrook, he misses his target. He's looking at the 8, the 6, and the 10. That'll fire on now. And he'll take it for a 10 box. Holbrook's at 54 after 6. Poirier is at 49 in a ball after 6. This is a competitive match at this point. Todd Holbrook currently 2 for 6 on the head pin and 1 for 6 on splits. Kristen Poirier is 4 for 6 on the head pin and 4 for 6 on splits. Kristen's to the left of the head pin, filling with 6 on this opening ball of the 7th frame. Todd Holbrook will fire right down the center and take a 4-pin spread eagle. Kristen Poirier on lane 16. Leda lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. She'll take 1 out. She'll take the 10 pin, that is. Todd Holbrook versus the eagle. He'll just graze by the 2-pin, leaving the rest of the bird on the plate. Kristen will take 2 more out for a 9 box. Kristen will be at 64 and 7. Todd Holbrook 5 or greater. He's going to take a 5 box. The tide swing a little bit. That puts Holbrook at what should be 59 and 7. Kristen Poirier is at 64 after 7. That is confirmed. Poirier, slightly off to the right of the head pin, just barely, leaves the 4 horseman left side. Todd Holbrook is also off the head pin to the left, takes a few more out, gets by. Poirier for a spare shot. Just missing the object pin a little bit, leaving the head pin. No mark. Todd Holbrook, he's going to foul. Kristen will get by with a 10. Todd Holbrook's on a foul. I will Likely need a moment just to assess how many pins are slashed off of that. That should put him at 63. Be a fouled 4 box for 63 and 8. That's confirmed. Although Kristen should have a 74, and I think they just caught that, so I'm just waiting on that to confirm. I did not. Kristen's score has been corrected. 74 to 63 is correct. Kristen's on the 1-3 pocket. Holbrook tries to take them all. We'll take a 6-drop split. Kristen Poirier first on the left side bail. A little bit too full on the bail, leaving the 4 and the 7. Holbrook versus the 7, 9, 10, 6. Take the 7, leaving the 8, 10, 6. Kristen's going to likely will foul that for an 8. Holbrook will take 7. It should be 82 after 9 for Poirier and 70 for Holbrook. I'll pause for confirmation. It would appear Kristen fouled it, but they haven't fixed it yet. And it's just been fixed. All right, Kristen's to the right of the head pin. And Todd Holbrook with a strike. Much better ball for Todd Holbrook. So he'll get a mark on the board for the first game. Kristen Poirier's follow-up ball to the left of the half Worcester. She'll take a few more out for the road. The 1, the 7, the 8, the 6, and the 10 are on the deck. Here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Home of Kegler's Den. Check it out. Great food, lots of taps. Great atmosphere, lots of TVs for watching sports ball of the like. And that's a 9 box for Kristen Poirier. And let's see if we can assess the scores. And I'll just double check. Should be 103 to 107 Alosa Metivier. 91 and 80 in a ball for Todd Holbrook. Todd Holbrook is still on a fill. We're just waiting on a lane reset before we finish everything up here. Todd Holbrook will just be finishing up his strike fill. That's 2 balls for a strike fill. All scores are confirmed up to this point. That's 2 so far for Todd Holbrook. He's got 2 in the bank. And 1 more for the something that rhymes with bank. And he'll take a few more out. That's going to be a good fill. It's going to be a 7 for Holbrook. Saves his game a little bit. Puts him at 87. But unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to take Kristen Poirier's 91. Kristen Poirier takes the first game against Todd Holbrook. Metivier takes the first game against John Alosa. And that will be the conclusion of the first game. You're watching the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I'm Steve Kelly, and now welcome to the second game. I'll welcome you back to the B class. That's Paul Metivier on the right this time, and John Alosa on the left. And Paul Metivier will be leading off. Right bowler goes first. Metivier will start out first. He's on the head pin, and that's a strike for Paul Metivier. Great move, great opening pro gamer move by Paul Metivier. Alosa on the head pin. He's dropping a wiggly 8 and a 9, and will be 10. It will be a late falling strike for John Alosa. 2 strikes to start out this second game here at the Atlantic Campus Singles Tour. I've noticed that with Paul Metivier and John Alosa, they've had a lot of really very similar boxes where they're just going box for box and getting almost the same results, and that was a great thing to watch. Alosa's fell a little bit slower, but it still went. Metivier is an overthrow off the head pin, but gets a few more, dropping 5 so far in his fill. And Alosa's on the head pin, and a couple more fall. Will he get a split out of it? He won't. Alosa the more likely spare, but we'll see what Metivier can do here. Metivier has a crossover curveball. It didn't quite cross over enough for the spare, so no spare for Metivier, 8 fill. Alosa will just barely take a spare. He'll steal it by just kissing it over. Metivier, meanwhile, will finish with an 8 box. Now our bowlers are differing just a little bit. That's 30 after 2 and a ball for John Alosa and 26 after 2 for Paul Metivier. So we'll talk about John Alosa, our away bowler. He's 13-1 with 1 match played so far. He bowled that at home at Boutwell's Bowling Center in Concord, New Hampshire. That is a non-headpin shot by Metivier, 5 drop, and a 2 fill for John Alosa, right side half Worcester. Metivier for his spare shot. He's on the headpin. Awkward pin action down there, though. John Alosa for the conversion. He almost takes the 10 pin, but no dice. Metivier for the follow-up. Metivier will take an 8. Spare 8, 8-8 for Metivier. That puts him at 34. And Alosa will foul off for a 9 box. 41 after 3 for Alosa and 34 after 3 for Paul Metivier. In terms of the headpins tonight, Alosa is 6 for 13 on headpins and 3 for 13 on splits. That's a good ratio to have. Metivier is 5 for 13 on headpins and 0 for 13 on splits, if you could believe that. Metivier on the headpin, and he drops 8. On target. Alosa just barely to the right of the headpin, drops 5, 4 horse on the left side and the 10. Metivier on the 4 and the 7 pin for a spare shot. Metiviers' ball doesn't quite curve to the left like it has been. You kind of overcorrected after that really strong crossover, but Alosa will take the spare. Metivier will clean up for a 10. Alosa currently looking at 51 in a ball after 4, and Metivier is at 42 after 4, and it's being score corrected down there right now, and yes, it will be 44 after 4. Confirmed. Up to date. In sync. Not Backstreet Boys. To the left of the headpin, Metivier drops 5. 4 that is, and Alosa loads it up for a strike on spare. Putting the pressure on Paul Metivier. Metivier trying to clean up for a spare and can't quite get it. He's left with the 1, the 6, and the 7 pins on the deck. Alosa with a fearsome 4 mark half, 71 and a fill. And Paul Metivier will clean up for 53 and 5. Explosive half for John Alosa coming alive here. 71 after 5 and a fill compared to Metivier's 53 after 5 and a fill. We have ourselves a match in the Class B Northern Conference, folks. Class E, meanwhile, we have Kristen Poirier, who took the first game against Todd Holbrook 91-87. Both of these bowlers in the Class E Northern Conference will begin their second game here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. That's Todd Holbrook down there. He fires first. Holbrook with a light hit to the right of the headpin. Kristen Poirier just slightly off the headpin, drops 6. Holbrook, the 1-5-2-4-7. He's just to the left, leaves the 1 and the 5. Headpin and a sleeper pin, headpin and kingpin. Kristen Poirier on the 4 horseman left side, the 1-2-4-7. She takes the 4 and the 7 out, leaving the 1 and the 2. Holbrook for the 10 box, and the sleeper stays. The Miracle in the Sleeper, as the Dream Theater song is named. Kristen Poirier will take 8. 9-8. Holbrook up by 1 in the second game. Todd Holbrook is down in the total by 3 and up in the game by 1 thus far here in the second of 5. Holbrook fires. He's to the right of the headpin. Poirier to the left of the headpin as well in the first ball. Holbrook 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Sesame Street song. No mark for Holbrook. Poirier, a little bit too full on the headpin. No mark for either bowler. Paul Metivier in lane 16. Bit of an unsteady release, but he'll come away with 8. Kristen Poirier will take a few more out. She'll actually take an 8 out of that as well. We are still at 1 pin difference. Holbrook at 17 after 2. Poirier at 16 after 2. Although apparently Todd Holbrook has been corrected to 16, so I'm going to stay in sync with them. It's apparently 8 and 8. So I will stay perfectly in sync with them. Todd Holbrook's on the head pin with a split. The 5 and the 10. Kristen with a bouquet of pins. Todd will miss the spare. He'll take the 5. Kristen will take one more for the road. Todd Holbrook will foul out for a 9. Kristen Poirier looking at a 6 box or higher. She'll take 6. I said she'll take 6. There we go. 25 after 3 for Todd Holbrook and 22 after 3 for Kristen Poirier. Holbrook fires on the head pin this time. Awkward 6 drop, 7, 8, 9, 6. Kristen's to the right of the head pin. She gets by. Pin's still falling, though. Could be a high-low jack, and it is a high-low jack. 1, 7, 10 with some wood. Holbrook fires on the 8. Takes only the 8. 7, 9, 6 left on the deck for Holbrook. Kristen will play the high-low jack and almost get it. Valiant attempt. Todd Holbrook will take a few more out for the road. He'll salvage a 9. 8, 8, 9, 9, 34 after 4 for Holbrook. Kristen Poirier will take a 9 for 31 after 4. Time for some stats updates. Kristen Poirier is 5 for 14 on the head pin tonight and 4 for 14 on splits. Holbrook is 7 for 14 on the head pin and 6 for 14 on splits. Holbrook is slightly off target there to the right. Kristen Poirier to the right of the head pin. Both bowlers have some work to do on the spare leaves. Holbrook is off to the left of the head pin this time, leaving the 1 and the 3. Kristen Poirier, the 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 10. She'll be in the 7 and only the 7. Holbrook will fire. He'll miss and take an 8. His third 8 of the game. Holbrook is at 42 after 5. Kristen will take a 6 box. That should put her at 37 after 5. And that is confirmed, 37 to 42. So that we are midway through the second game here. I hope you're enjoying this match. This Atlantic Candlepin Single Store Class B&E doubleheader. If you're ready for some B&E today, we got plenty of it. Saying hello to John Alosa, who's on a monstrous half right now. Alosa, 71 and a fill. He throws a little bit too hard to start out. Spread eagle. Paul Metivier drops 9 right off the bat. And Alosa will try to play the eagle and can't quite get it. Metivier, he misses the single pin spare. So that'll be a 6 fill for Alosa. 8 box at the end of it all. Metivier will take a 10. John Alosa is at 8 for 16 on headpin shots, 4 for 16 on splits. Metivier is 7 for 16 on headpins. Currently, no splits so far from Metivier. Alosa to the right of the headpin, he gets by. Metivier also misses the headpin. Alosa fires, and he sails through the hole. No mark. Metivier will play the head pin, and the 1 and the 3 fall, but the 8 pin does not. Alosa, 5 box or greater, and he'll clean up for a 10 box. Metivier will take a 9. 95 after 7 for Alosa, and 72 after 7 for Paul Metivier. And Alosa gets an awkward smattering of pins. Doesn't connect with a head pin. Metivier dropping 6, maybe 7. It won't be a split with that late falling pin. Alosa will take a few more out, no mark. Probably getting a little bit excited after that first half he threw. Metivier We'll take a spare, though. He needs that one. Alosa will take 2 more after the road and take an 8. Alosa's at 103 in 8. Metivier at 82 in 8. So John Alosa, his season average so far is 116.4 after bowling 1 match at home. High single 133, high series 582, and that's John Alosa on the headpin with an 8 drop. Metivier, spare fill is a strike. Strike on spare. Metivier doing a great job tonight with very controlled first balls when they connect. John Alosa struggling here, hasn't gotten a spare. For his 10 box. He'll take 10. $102 and a fill for Metivier. Should be 113 for John Alosa. That is confirmed. Alosa on lane 16. To left the headpin, he drops 5. Metivier is also off target. No headpin shot for either bowler. 5 drops for both. Same shot. 4 horsemen right side and the 8. Alosa will just take the 8. Metivier could be looking to load up here. And he's just off a little bit, but he'll take a 6 fill on the strike regardless. And Alosa will clean up for a 9. Metivier, meanwhile, for a 6 or greater. And 6 it will be. All right, so I believe if everything is shaken out to the way I think it's shaken out, Alosa should be at 122. And Metivier is at 114. Metivier's score is confirmed. Waiting on John Alosa's. Okay, it is 122 now officially. All right, we are in sync. 122 to 114. Alosa will take the second game against Metivier. Alosa 9 for 20 on the headpin tonight, 5 for 20 on splits. Metivier 9 for 20 on the headpin and 0 for 20 on splits. I'll say hello now to Kristen Poirier and Todd Holbrook again. Kristen Poirier on the right, Todd Holbrook on the left. Kristen Poirier will lead off on lane 16. Start out with a right side half Worcester. 2 drop. Headpin shot for Holbrook, but pins are still falling. It's a six drop and a split. Kristen Poirier's fire on the half Worcester leaves her with the 1, the 6, and the 10. Holbrook will spare it up, though. Kristen Poirier looking to clean up for a 10 box. And she nearly will. She'll take a 9. 46 and 6 for Poirier, 52 and a fill for Holbrook. There's the scores in case you missed it and all the detailed statistics. Thank you for watching the Atlantic Candlepin Single Store. I'm Steve Kelly in the call. This Class B and E Northern Conference doubleheader tonight. Kristen Poirier's on the headpin dropping 6. Todd Holbrook's on a split, or on a spare that is. On the headpin, and there's the split for Phil. Spread eagle. Poirier will take 2 more out, leaving the 2 and the 5. Holbrook's pitch. 2 out on the deck. No marks for either bowler. Poirier, 8, 9, or 10 box. She's going to take a 9. And Holbrook for a 10 box, 6 blocks minimum. It's going to be an 8 box. Holbrook currently leads 64 to Kristen Poirier's 55. And Holbrook has the total by 5 and the game by 9 at the moment. Both bowlers potential for 2 points apiece by the end of this game if things continue exactly the way they are. Kristen Poirier to the right of the headpin. Drops 3. Holbrook to the right of the headpin. Drops a few more. Poirier now fires, takes a few more, leaves the 1, the 3, the 4, and the 7. on the deck. And Todd Holbrook's first spare shot. He's off target as well. Leaves the 1, the 5, and the 9. And Poirier will sail through. Takes a 6. And Todd Holbrook will take a 7 to finish things off. 71 and 8 for Holbrook. 61 and 6 for Poirier. Talk a bit about Todd Holbrook tonight. He is 6 and 8 for the season with 1 match played at home. 96.6 average. High single 111. High series 483. He has 1 strike, 7 spares, and 8 tens last match for the season. And he has a perfect box percentage of 32%. Todd Holbrook has 111 seasonal total pins. He was Class D North Division 1 last year, Class E North Division 1 this year. And most recently, Todd Holbrook faced Greg Sawyer in round 12, taking 6 points, 483 series, a 96.6 average, 90, 86, 111, 90, and 106 that game. 1 strike, 7 spares, 8 tens. Kristen Poirier is the left of the head pin. Todd Holbrook, wild pitch to the left. Kristen Poirier, spare leave 1, 3, 6, 4, 7. She'll take a few more out, leaving the 1, the 4, and the 7. Holbrook, he took 1 out on the corner. It's on the head pin this time, but he leaves the right side check mark. No marks for either of our bowlers. Poirier for a 79 or 10 box. She'll take a 9. And Holbrook, he'll take an 8 box. Holbrook is at 79 after 9. Poirier is at 70 after 9. Poirier 6 for 19 on head pins tonight, 4 for 19 on splits. Holbrook 9 for 19 on the head pin, and 8 for 20 on splits. Poirier fires to the right of the head pin, drops 5. She's got the 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. Holbrook will take a left side half Worcester. Poirier will fire first, left side spare leave. She's on the 1-2 pocket. She was on the object pocket. That was the right way to hit it, but the 4 and the 8 remain. Todd Holbrook versus the left side half Worcester. Connects with the 1-3 pocket, leaves the 4, 7, 10. Poirier for an 8, 9, or 10. She will take a 9 box. And Holbrook, 79 or 10 on the 4, 7, 10. They'll miss them for a 7. Holbrook will take the second game with an 86 to Kristen Poirier's 79. That is confirmed. So Alosa will take the second game 122 over Metivier's 114 for a 2-game total of 225 for Alosa, 221 for Metivier. Holbrook will take the second game over Kristen Poirier. Holbrook with a 2-game total of 173 over Kristen Poirier's 170. That is your score update for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, and we're going to move on to the third game here. We're going to see Paul Metivier start off against John Alosa here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. It's great to have you along. And that's Paul Metivier on the head pin on the pocket. Crossover, 8 drop. Again, no split for Metivier. Very unusual to not have this many splits up to this point. Alosa's on the head pin, but he also gets a split dropping 6. Metivier on the 5-9. He'll take the 9, leaving the 5. Alosa, his spare leave. He'll take the 3, and the 3 will phase through everything else. No marks for either of our bowlers. Metivier fires on the 5. He'll take a 10. Alosa for 10 box. He'll take 1 more out for an 8 box. Alosa 10 for 21 on headpin shots tonight, 6 for 21 on splits. Metivier 10 for 21 on the headpin and 0 for 10 on splits so far. Metivier, there's a split, finally. I was wondering if that count was broken, but it's not. Alosa gets by, takes a 7 drop. Metivier has the 2, 3, 4, 7, 10. Fires on the correct operative pocket, but leaves the 3 and the 10. Alosa, he'll take a spare. Metivier looking to clean up on the 3 and the 10. And he will. He'll take a 10. 2 10s in a row for Metivier. $18 in a ball for Alosa. And 20 after 2 for Paul. Just waiting on the score correct. And that's confirmed. So Metivier will lead off. Fishing for marks, he finally got his first split at the 3rd game, if you could believe that. Metivier is on the 1-3 pocket. That's a great crossover ball that lands right in the pocket, but he drops 7. No split, though. Alosa on the head pin. He's looking at a 6 drop. 6 fill on a spare. Metivier for a spare. He's just a little off the triangle. Alosa almost has a pretty cutover, but no marks for either of our bowlers. Metivier will go for an 8, and he'll get that 8. Alosa, meanwhile, will take 9. 28 after 3 for Metivier, 33 after 3 for Alosa. Folks, if you live in the area or are willing to make the pilgrimage, or if you're visiting New England, it'd be a great time to go Candlepin bowling. Check out candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center and check out the unique challenge, thrill, frustration, everything that comes with it when it comes to Candlepin bowling. Metivier is off to the left of the head pin, and Alosa is on the head pin, dropping 9. Metivier had a wild pitch to the right, and he overcorrects a little bit, misses the head pin. Alosa for a spare. He'll miss the 5 pin, unfortunately. Metivier shooting for a 10 box, 5 box minimum. He'll cut a few more out for a 7. And Alosa will clean up for a 10. And that puts us at 43 after 4 for Alosa and 35 after 4 for Metivier. That is confirmed in sync. Bye. Metivier getting ready to fire. Prepares the cannons. And the pitch. On the head pin, once again, it's a split. Now we're starting to see some splits from Metivier. 5 drop. Head pin shot for Alosa, 7 drop, on leaving the 6, 9, and 10 pins on the deck. Metivier's got the right side diamond in the 7. He'll play the diamond wins again, 7 pin unharmed, 9 pin unharmed. Alosa versus the triangle, he misses his spare as well. Metivier versus the 7 and the 9 for a 10 box. He'll miss for an 8. And Alosa will also take 8. Promising first balls that end in somewhat mediocrity. So that's Alosa with 51 after 5, and Paul Metivier 43 after 5. That is your score update. And we're going to say hello once again to the Class E bowlers. Kristen Poirier on the left and Todd Holbrook on the right. Metivier is trailing John Alosa by 12 in the total, and Alosa is up by 8 in the game. And Holbrook is off to the right of the head pin. Poirier is off the head pin, but gets a 7 drop, oddly enough. Holbrook. Oh, he sails through the hole once again on the right side lemon drop on the 6 pin. You owe Paul Grant a buck. Kristen Poirier's on the head pin, but doesn't get much out of it. Leaves the 8 and the 9. Todd Holbrook takes a few more out. No mark for Todd Holbrook. 5 drop. 5 box. 5 box for Holbrook and 8 box for Poirier. Poirier is 6 for 21 on the head pin and 4 for 21 for splits. Holbrook 9 for 21 on the head pin and 8 for 21 on splits. Holbrook on the head pin drops 7 with a split. Kristen Poirier on the head pin and a awkward split diamond left side in the 10, similar to what Paul Metivier's shot was. Holbrook on the 3, 7, 9 for a spare shot. We'll try to play the wood, but takes only the sleeper pin out. Kristen left side diamond in the 10. She'll take two out and leave 3 on the deck. Holbrook cleaning up for a 10, 8, 9, or 10. He'll take a 9. And Poirier, 7, 8, 9, or 10. 2, 4, 10 pins. So clean up for a 9 box. Excellent pinning against Todd Holbrook. Kristen Poirier's at 17 after 2. Todd Holbrook at 14 after 2. Poirier 7 for 22 on head pins, 5 for 22 on splits. Holbrook 10 for 22 on the head pin and 9 for 22 on splits this evening so far. That's another head pin shot and an 8 drop for Todd Holbrook. Kristen Poirier slightly off target from the head pin, but drops 6. 1, 8, 9, 10 is what she's contending with. Holbrook versus the 8, 9, 10. He'll spare it up. Excuse me, the 4 and the 7. What am I saying? Kristen Poirier versus the 1, 8, 9, 10. There we go. That's why I said that. She plays it right, but doesn't get anything out of it. Just 2 pins out of the 4. So Kristen Poirier is shooting for an 8, 9, or 10 box. She'll take 9. 26 after 3 for Poirier. 24 in a ball for Holbrook. We're having a great time here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. Hope you're enjoying this match and the ACST as a whole. With Todd Holbrook with a 6 drop on his fill. To the right of the head pin, 4 horsemen left side. Kristen Poirier with a left side half Worcester. And we got Todd Holbrook. He fires on the 4 horsemen and leaves the 4 horsemen. Kristen's a little off target herself. No marks for either bowler. And it seems Todd Holbrook apparently was scored with an 8 in the second box. So again, folks, I'm going to stay in sync with them. It is up to the bowlers to adjust their scores if it has been scored incorrectly. So Holbrook will take 8. Kristen will take 5. Kristen's at 31. Holbrook at 37 after the 4th. Holbrook gets by to the right of the left pin with the crossover. And same for Kristen. Holbrook on the 4 horseman right side, the 7 and the 9. It's on the head pin, stomps hard. He wanted that really badly, but couldn't quite get it. Kristen Poirier will slightly miss the right of the head pin for the no spare. Holbrook, 7, 8, 9, or 10 box. He'll fire for a 7 box. Kristen Poirier, 8, 9, or 10 box here. And Kristen will take a 9. And at the end of the half, and at the official halfway point here, Poirier's at 40, Holbrook at 44. And in the total, Poirier's at 210, Holbrook at 217, a 7-pin difference. Alosa Metivier, 276 to 264, respectively, 51 to 43. Going to say hello now to Alosa and Paul Metivier once again. Alosa will start off with a misfire on the head pin. And Metivier will do the same in case of the second half yips. Alosa take a few more for the road, leaving the 1 and the 2. Metivier, meanwhile, takes a couple for the road. 1, 6, 8. Alosa for the 10 box. Alosa will take 9. Metivier will take 8. So Alosa should be at 60 after 6, confirmed. Metivier is confirmed 51 after 6. Alosa fires on lane 16 on the head pin. It's a great 1-3 pocket shot. Drops 9, single pin spare opportunity. Metivier drops 7, crossing over. Alosa single pin spare on the 10. He gets it. This guy gets it, folks. Metivier, meanwhile, 7, 8, 9, or 10. Or spare, that is, and he'll get the spare. He'll take the best possible outcome. Alosa, 14 for 27 tonight on the head pin and 6 for 27 on splits. Metivier, 13 for 27 for the head pin and 2 for 27. Yes, 2 for splits. Alosa, he'll take 7 on the head pin. Metivier On the nose, we'll take 5 on the bail. The hay bale on the right side. Alosa will clean up, though, for a second spare in a row. Spare on spare. Metivier on the right side bail. Plays it. Leaves the 10 pin. It's a great shot, but the hay bale is difficult to convert. Metivier will take a 10 box. 76 and 8 from Metivier. 87 in a ball from Alosa. That's the story. John Alosa faced Dan Gray in round 01 at Boutwell's Bowling Center in Concord, New Hampshire. And he'll take 8 and a split on that spare fill. Metivier to the right of the head pin, not as lucky. Metivier drops 6. Alosa, goalposts, 4-6. He plays the wood doesn't play back. No doink either. Metivier will miss the object pin, but he'll take 2 out of it. 1 of the 2 remain. No marks for either of our bowlers. Alosa will miss the field goal. He'll take 8, though. Metivier cleans up for a 10 box. Metivier is at an 86 and 9. Alosa at 103 in 9. That is confirmed. 16 for 29 head pins for Alosa. 14 for 29 head pins for Metivier. And Alosa, the 189 incident, has been spotted at Leda Lanes. Metivier, meanwhile, drops 9. Tale of two headpin shots here. Some bowlers pack up and go home when they see this shot. John Alosa is trying to convert the 189 incident to something better. And he takes a few more out. Metivier, for a single pin spare, he'll get it. He needed that one. His second mark of the game, that puts him at 96 and 10 in a ball. Alosa will take a few more out for a 7. Alosa will finish with 110. And he will triumph over Metivier. Even if Metivier got a strike on spare for the fill, he will only get to 106. Metivier is just clearing a pin before he throws his final spare fill of the night, of the third game here. John Alosa, 17 for 30 on head pins, 7 for 30 on splits. Metivier, 15 for 30 on the head pin, and 2 for 30 on splits. That's a really, really, really great split ratio. Not a bad head pin ratio either. And Metivier will keep it competitive at least with a 9 fill, maybe a 10? Nope, just a 9. He'll get to 105, 5 under John Alosa's 110. Pausing to confirm that as they fix it. Late falling pins are a little bit difficult for the Cubica AMF system to follow up on. And it will be 105 to 110. Alosa triumphant in the third. 3-game total of 335 for Alosa, 3-game total of 326 for Metivier. The total is within their grasp still. And what I mean by that, it's still anyone's game in terms of the total. Alosa up by 9, Metivier just trailing by 9. Currently 4 points to 2. Anyways, Kristen Poirier is on the head pin and drops 7. Todd Holbrook drops 9 on the head pin, on the nose. Poirier, 247 for a spare leave. She's just a little bit off the 2 pin. Single pin spare for Todd Holbrook. Lane 15. And he'll play the wood, but won't connect with the 7 pin. Kristen Poirier fires and misses the second and gets the third for a 10 box. And Holbrook will do the same. 50 for Poirier in 6. 54 for Holbrook in 6. Poirier is 8 for 26 on head pins and 5 for 26 on splits. Holbrook is 12 and 9 out of 26 for head pins and splits, respectively. Poirier on the head pin, 7 drop. 7-10-6. Holbrook looks to answer. To the left of the head pin. He gets by. Poirier, 7-10-6. Difficult shot. She'll play the 6-10 and it almost goes. That was a fantastic attempt by Kristen Poirier. Whether you got her or you didn't, she played it right. Todd Holbrook, the 1, the 5, the 3, the 6, the 9, and the 10. With some wood. The wood may not be helpful to the left of the head pin. Todd knew that, so he didn't play it, but he's off target a little bit, leaving the head pin. Poirier for the 10 box. She'll take 9. Holbrook for the 10 box. He'll take 9. 63 and 7 for Holbrook. 59 and 7 for Poirier. Todd Holbrook, season record of 6 and 8 with 1 match played. Kristen Poirier on the head pin, 7 drop. 1, 2, 7. Holbrook. To the left of the head pin, but a generous pin spread. 1, 7, 8, 10. Kristen Poirier, 1, 2, 7 on the deck. She's just off to the right of the head pin, no mark. High-low jack in the 8 for Todd Holbrook on lane 15. Takes out the 8, leaving the high-low jack. Poirier misses for a 7. And Holbrook will just graze the head pin for an 8 box. 71 and 8 for Holbrook, 66 and 8 for Poirier. Poirier 9 for 28 on the head pin. Holbrook 12 for 28 on the head pin. And Kristen will take a left side half Worcester. Holbrook, meanwhile, left to the head pin. And Poirier's on the head pin, and pin's still falling. It might be a spare. She leaves all but 9, the 9 pin. Holbrook, the right side 4 horsemen, and the 7 for the spare. We'll take everything but the head pin. Poirier's hunting for a 10 box on the 9 pin. She'll take 9. Holbrook will take 9 as well. Poirier 75 and 9. Holbrook 80 and 9. Although, Kristen Poirier's score has gotten slightly out of sync from mine. And it looks like they're discussing that now, actually. It looks like John Alosa caught it, and he's currently fixing it. She is at 75. That is confirmed. 75 to 80. We are in sync. Kristen Poirier on the head pin. It's a split 6 drop. 4, 6, 2, 10. Todd Holbrook on the head pin, and he'll caca the eagle. Poirier is currently totaling 6 for fills tonight, averaging 6, and Holbrook totaling 17 in fills, averaging 5.7 per mark. Kristen misses the mark. Holbrook misses the mark. 6 blocks or greater for Poirier to finish the 3rd here. Final box. Potential for 90. She'll take 8. Holbrook trying to convert a 5 or higher. We'll take a 7. Holbrook will take the 3rd game by 4, 87 to Kristen Poirier's 83. That is the end of the 3rd game. 3-game total of 253 for Poirier. 3-game total of 260 for Holbrook. And we're going to be moving on to the 4th game now. This 4th game out of 5 here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Store. It's great to have you along with us. I'm Steve Kelly on the call. And we have Paul Metivier and John Alosa down there on the decks. Or down there in the approaches, more specifically. If you're on the decks, that would be weird. Paul Metivier is right on the head pin with a split. Spread eagle minus a pin. Alosa drops 9, leaving the 2. Metivier trying to convert for a spare, can't quite do it. Hard shot on the broken eagle. Alosa, though, he'll take a spare. And Metivier will go for a 9 box, cleaning up. Let's see, what more can I tell you about Paul Metivier? He's 10 and 4 for the season with 1 match played. Season average 108.2. High single 128, high series 541, 2 strikes, 10 spares, 17 tens. 58% perfect box percentage so far, not counting this match. He's off the right, the headpin dropping 5. Alosa will be shot on headpin and an 8 fill. 8 drop. Metivier on the center diamond and the 7. He's off target. Alosa will take a second spare in a row, though. 28 and a fill after 2 for Alosa. Metivier trying to clean up for a 10. Metivier will clean up for a 10. 19 after 2. Alosa, 19 for 32 on the head pin tonight, 7 for 32 on splits, 69 total pins for fills, and averaging 6.3 per mark for fills. Metivier totaling 54 for fills, averaging 6.8 per mark per fill. Some next-gen stats provided by the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube. And that's John Alosa with nearly a strike fill. Another high-powered fill for John Alosa. Single pin spare leave once again. Metivier trying to clean up the 1 and the 7. 1 and the 7 will stay on the deck. And Alosa, and I think he got it. His head got in the way. I think that is... No, it's a fouled 9. Okay. And Metivier will clean up for 10. That one I legitimately could not see, but they did score corrected down there to a fouled 9. Should be 29 after 3 for Metivier and winning on the score correct. Should be 46 after 3 for Alosa. That is confirmed. Both scores are confirmed. All right. John Alosa gets ready to wind up. Alosa's pitch. Slightly not grazing the head pin. Drops 6. Alosa on the head pin, 7-10 split. But with plenty of wood to help him, though. Right side 4 horsemen for Metivier. He tries that crossover, but can't quite connect to the middle. No mark. And Alosa won't quite convert. Metivier for the 10 box. It's like 9. And Alosa. That will be a 10 box for 56 and 4 for Alosa, 38 and 4 for Metivier. Alosa 20 for 34 on the head pin. Metivier 17 for 34 on the head pin. 7 splits for Alosa, 4 splits for Metivier. 78 to 54 is the fill spread with Alosa coming out on top at the moment. That's Metivier on the head pin. Pin still falling. 6 drop. And Alosa with another 9 drop. He's got great luck on the first ball. Piece of wood rolling out of play. Metivier almost getting a spare. Plays the right wood in the right pocket. Can't kick over to the 10. Alosa for the spare. He'll sit on a spare for 66 at the half. Metivier will take a 10 box for 48 after 5. And that brings us to the end of the first half of the 4th game for John Alosa and Paul Metivier, respectively. John Alosa's at 66 and a fill after 5 with 3 marks. Metivier markless, 48 in the 5th. 3.5 game total of 401 for John Alosa, 3.5 game total of 374 for Paul Metivier. And after some brief lane maintenance, we are now ready to start our Class E bowlers here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. It's great to have you along with us. Here's some stats for Kristen Poirier in case you missed it. She's 10 and 4. She's only bowled 1 match so far. She's brand new to the ACST. Here's Todd Holbrook as well, 6 and 8. So that kind of gives you an idea. It's still a little bit early in the season to start assessing things such as who's ahead of whom, just because, it would be unfair to do so. So going to hold off on the rest of that discussion until maybe midway through the season. Todd Holbrook lemon drops the first ball. Kristen Poirier's on the head pin for an awkward split. Deserved better than that. Kristen Poirier 7-8, 10, force 5. Holbrook on the lemon drop. He owes Paul Grant $2 now. And he'll drop off with a 5. And there's a piece of wood that is way out on the deck. Better rolled out into the gutter for Kristen Poirier. Poirier trying to make something happen here. And she slides the 10 pin. Wow, that was something that we saw during the Friday Night Pro League several times at Academy Lanes. I didn't expect to see it here at Leda Lanes. But Holbrook will take a 9 box on the 5 pin. Kristen Poirier will take a 9 box on that pin that should have fallen in the previous ball, but didn't. 9 after 1. Excuse me. Hold on, let me fix a couple things. No, oh, no, automatic score system was messing up. I thought they bowled a second ball. I thought they bowled a second box and I missed it, but no, they're clearing pins and it's counting as balls. So, you know, the wonders of automatic scoring and whatnot when you don't disable ball detection. Fun stuff, fun stuff. And if we're all set, I think, nope, there's still something out there. All right, well, in the meantime, I can do some plugin. So, folks, the Leda Lanes team will be bowling. Our team for Leda Lanes for the International Invitational Candlepin Championship this fall is the Massholes. And as a member of the Massholes, I am inclined to tell you that we are going to do a big raffle, and we're selling tickets. So the way we're doing this, I'm offering 1 ticket for $5, 3 tickets for $10, 5 tickets for $20. You can Venmo me at Skelly, and you can either include it in the Venmo message or message me privately, however you want to do it. Just some info, name, address, city, state, zip, and phone number. The info is just written for the physical card. I don't remember it or store it. I don't want to know that information, trust me. And there's $6,500 in prizes. There's $2,000 for one winner in one drawing. There's a $1,000 drawing, $750, $500 for 2 winners, $250 across 3 winners, and there will be 10 $100 winners. So check it out. Consider putting in for a chance to win some money at the International Invitational Candlepin Championship this November. The drawing will be November 4th, 2024. And all the proceeds will go towards supporting the teams during the week because we'll be bowling a full 9 to 5 shift of bowling every day. So support my team, support the Massholes. The world could use your help. The world needs us. And anyways, I'm sorry I'm yakking here. So Holbrook will take an 8 and Poirier will take a 7, I believe. 16 after 2 for Holbrook. Let me double check. I'm just looking at the official scores, and it looks like I'm just going to make some adjustments here to sync up with them. Because, again, it's up to the bowlers to keep up with that. Kristen's at 15 after 2. Holbrook is at 16 after 2. Holbrook on the head pin with a 4-7 drop. He'll go for the spare and won't quite get it. Poirier, meanwhile, 15 after 2. No marks for either bowler. Sorry about my computer. Apparently, just having some trouble with things seemingly out of where. Let's see what's going on with that. Sorry about the delay there. Okay. All right, sorry for the interruption there. Something interesting happened on the technical front that I just had to address, and I think we're okay now. It was interesting how apparently my computer thought it wasn't plugged in for a little while, and we're going to see where that takes us. So if we do disconnect, my apologies. Kind of triaging that right now. Anyways, let's take a look at John Alosa. And John Alosa is presently filling that spare with 8 with a split. Metivier, left side, half Worcester. And that's Alosa missing his mark. Metivier also missing the mark. My goodness. Alosa will foul that for a 9. Metivier on the half Worcester trying to clean up, and it looks like he'll take a 9 out of it. 57 after 6 for Metivier and 83 after 6 for Alosa. Give you the scores. Again, sorry about the delay there in commentary and everything else. Just had to address something there. Alosa's at 83. Should be 83. It says 82, but I think they just caught it. Still waiting on the verdict on that. Apparently no. Apparently it'll be a 7 fill. So I will adjust that again to match the bowlers. Alosa dropping 7 on the head, dropping 8 on the head pin. Metivier on the head pin. Well, there seems to be some kind of confusion with the score system, so I'll give you an update once they figure it out. Alosa, no mark. It's very possible that was an 8 fill. But it seems not, so I don't know. We'll see. Alosa will take a 9 on that. It should be 91. I'm going to hold for confirmation. Metivier will take an 8 box. John appears to be correct, 91 and 7. Metivier, 65 and 7. We are in sync right now, but they're still score correcting, so I'm not sure what entirely is going on down there right now. Staying out of it. Alosa on the head pin. That's a head pin shot and a split. Metivier shooting at the head pin. He drops 8. Was split. Alosa takes one more off of the road. No mark. One of the 2 goalposts down. Metivier, the 6 and the 7 pins are on the deck. Metivier kicks it for a spare. Alosa will take a 9. Metivier should be at... Oops. If I can put things in the right places here. Metivier should be at 75 after 8. That is confirmed. And Alosa is at 108. Apparently at an 8 in the 7th. So, again, keeping in sync with the bowlers. Alosa drops 9 in the head pin. And Alosa will take a spare. Metivier's fill is 6, and he'll take another spare on top of that spare. And again, I'm doing the best I can to try to keep up with some score corrections here. It looks like 109 and a fill for John Alosa and 91 and a fill for Paul Metivier, but I will hold. Again, I'll sort it all out towards the end. John Alosa will fill that spare with 8 on the head pin with a split. Metivier fills with 7. And Alosa gets by, misses the split, misses the spare. And Metivier, 7-10 split. Alosa, missed for a 9. And Metivier will take 9. Should be 126 Alosa, 107 Metivier, but I will pause to, because they're now discussing that. Still waiting. Both scores are incorrect right now, and they're trying to score correct both of them right now. So waiting in suspense with you all here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Still waiting, because something is seriously messed up with John Alosa's score up there right now. So he has 117 and 9. That is confirmed, and he should have the 9 for 126. And then Alosa Metivier, I believe, had a 9 box, but it gave him an 8, but it also thinks the box isn't finished. So again, just waiting on literally all of that right now, and I'll give you the update as soon as it's all sorted out. 120. Anyone got any games on their phone? Anyone at all? And yep, their scoreboard's still hosed. $126 is confirmed for John Alosa. That just got fixed. Paul Metivier should have a 107, but it still isn't an open frame. Paul's box isn't closed yet. Okay, yeah. There we go. They are fixing it. Looks like they're rapidly trying to fix it. Anyways, we'll give you the update on that as soon as they have the update on that. Kristen Poirier's on the head pin with a split. Todd Holbrook on the head pin with a spread eagle. And I believe Paul should have a 107, but at the moment I will correct it such that is 106 to match the scoreboard down there right now. And so it'll be what it'll be. Kristen Poirier. Looks like Kristen Poirier will take a 6 box. Holbrook will take a 6 box of his own. And I think they're trying to fix Paul's, but there's a lot of fingers on the touchscreen right now, as you can see. Should be 48 for Holbrook and 52 for Poirier. That is confirmed. 7 drop for Poirier, off to missing the head pin. Holbrook, same story, but with a half Worcester left side. Kristen Poirier on the 1, 8, and 10 pins. She'll get it for a spare. That was a really nice shot by Kristen Poirier. Excellent shot. Todd Holbrook, meanwhile, he gets by with a few more pins. 4, 5, 1, 7 on the deck. There we go. And Todd Holbrook will take a 9 box. Kristen Poirier's at 62 and a fill in the 7th. Todd Holbrook is at 56 in the 7th. Apparently it's an 8 box, so I'm going to match what they've got. Kristen Poirier on the head pin. Kristen Poirier is on that head pin and fills with 7. And that's Todd Holbrook with a strike. Sorry, there's a bit of a crowd of people in front of me right now, and I can't quite see it. So he took a strike for 66 and a fill and 8. Kristen Poirier working on a second spare here, and she'll take one more out. She'll get an extra pin for the road, actually, leaving the 7 pin on the deck. She got a nice 7 fill for 69 and 7, possibly 79 and 8. She'll take a 9 box for 78 and 8. 78 and 8 for Poirier. 66 and a fill for Todd Holbrook. That is confirmed in sync with them. Again, all scores are to be confirmed by the bowlers. So, and for the sake of my sanity, I'm just keeping in sync with what they have maintained down there. So, and I have a bit of a feeling that a few of those score corrections may have undercounted a few people a few times, but it's going to be what it's going to be. Kristen Poirier with an awkward, interesting shot. I got this shot the other night. It's the 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then Todd Holbrook starting out his strike field with 6. Kristen Poirier. Take a few more out for the road. 8-9-5. Todd Holbrook was looking to complete his strike fill now. Lane 15. And he tries to get a helicopter shot, but he'll take 8 on the strike. Kristen Poirier for a 10 box. She'll take 1 out for an 8. Todd Holbrook, meanwhile, will take an 8 of his own. And here's just the score update, because we had a lot of action going on here in this game in particular. I don't know what it is about the 4th game, but 86-9 for Kristen, 82-9 for Todd Holbrook. We are in sync with the automatic score system and the scores the bowlers are maintaining. Kristen Poirier, opening ball, a little bit off target. She gets by. Holbrook to the right of the head pin. Pins are sliding around a little bit. 1, 4, 7, 8. Kristen's got the 1, 5, 3, 8, 9. At Leda Lanes here in Nashua, New Hampshire. Kristen misses to the right. And Todd Holbrook will punch 1 more out. No marks for either bowler. Kristen Poirier, 13 for 40 on head pins tonight, 11 for 40 on splits. Kristen Poirier will finish with an 8 box for a 94. Todd Holbrook had a 7, 8, 9, or 10 box. Holbrook 19 for 40 on head pins and 14 for 40 on splits, by my count. There might have been 1 or 2 boxes where I might have missed a stat or two just because I was just dealing with a technical issue on the computer that I've since fixed. Todd Holbrook takes a 9. 91. And let's size up the scoring situation. 94-91 is confirmed. 4-game total of 461 for Alosa Metivier. 4-game total of 432. Alosa took the 4th game over Metivier, 126-106. And in the 4th game, Kristen Poirier takes the 4th game over Todd Holbrook, 94-91. 4-game total of 347 for Kristen Poirier. 4-game total of 351 by Todd Holbrook. So the total is still up for grabs. But anyways, we're going to move on to the 5th and final game. And all issues be darned, we're here in the 5th and final game. Welcome to the 5th and final game. Metivier misses the head pin, drops 5. Alosa will take a right side diamond on the head pin. Metivier, for a spare bid, he'll get it. He will get it, and Alosa will get it as well. Again, big theme of the night between these two bowlers is kind of going head-to-head and mark for mark at some certain points, particularly at the starts of strings. I don't know what it is. Metivier will take a head pin shot and a split for a 7 fill. And Alosa will take a 7 fill as well, but not a split. Metivier will take a 2nd spare in a row. Alosa breaks the chain. No, sorry, Metivier will not take a spare. My bad. That was entirely on me. It's a 10 box for Metivier. And a 10 box for Alosa. Again, okay, they are matching each other. Still, some way. Alosa has 100 extra pins and fills, 28 for 50 on the head pin. Metivier 74 extra pins on fills, and 22 for 50 on the head pin. Split-wise, Paul Metivier has been much luckier than Alosa, especially for the first 2 games, but he's caught up 8 for 50 on splits versus Alosa's 11 for 50 on splits. Alosa's to the right of the head pin. I mean, Metivier's to the right of the head pin, that is. Alosa, left side hay bale on the head pin. Metivier on the head pin phases through some pins. Alosa, hay bale left side, no marks for either of our bowlers. Metivier cleans up for 10 box. Alosa will take 9. 36-3 for Alosa, 37-3 for Metivier. Here's the score matrix in case you missed it or just need some time to review the past games here. Winding down here in the 5th and final game here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. This Class B and E North doubleheader tonight. That is Paul Metivier leading off on the right down there along with John Alosa. I'm Steve Kelly back here. It's great to have you along. So we got a smattering of pins for both our bowlers, neither of which took the head pin out. Metivier punches through. Alosa takes a few more out. Alosa on the 1 and the 10. Metivier on the 3, 6, 10. Metivier will miss for a 7 box. Alosa will take 8. 44 after 4. Our bowlers are evenly matched. Alosa is 29 for 44 on head pins. Metivier 22 for 44 on head pins. Alosa is averaging 7.1 pins per fill, while Metivier is averaging 6.7. Metivier to the right of the head pin. He seems to be slowing down a little bit here, as at least on the head pin shot frontier, and Alosa will get a generous drop after missing the head pin as well. Alosa's looking at the 1, 8, 9, 10. Metivier has just got a whole pile of pins on the deck. Metivier punches out a few more for the 1, 7, 10 high-low jack for a 10 box. Alosa will take a spare, though, to sit on, bookending his half. 54 and a ball. Metivier versus the 1, 7, 10 high-low jack. He'll take the 1 and the 7, but the 10 will remain on the deck, and the high-low jack will win another day. 53 and 5 for Metivier. And they got to score correct that. John scores correct. Metivier's I'm just waiting on before we swap things over, and it will be 53. That is confirmed. Oops. Real quick, here's the scores just before we switch over. Alosa 54 and a ball. Metivier 53. That's Todd Holbrook to the right of the head pin, dropping 7. Poirier just barely hangs on to the left side of the deck. Bit of a misfire. Holbrook for a spare shot on the 1, 2, 4. And he'll get it for a spare. Holbrook with a mark so far. Poirier, meanwhile, on the 1, 2. No mark, but a great cleanup. She's shooting for a 10 box. Shooting for a 10 box on the 3 and the 10. She'll get by with a 9. 9 after 1 for Poirier. 10 and a ball for Holbrook. We'll now see the results of that mark. Holbrook fires the pitch on the head pin. He drops 8. He drops 9. That was a great fill on the head pin for Holbrook. Kristen Poirier on the head pin as well, but with less luck on a split. 8, 9, 10, 5, but Holbrook has a spare leave. And he gets it just barely. He steals it. I believe he gets it. If my eyes didn't deceive me, I'm pretty sure he got it. And Kristen Poirier tries to clean up, but can't quite get the 10. Kristen Poirier versus the 10 pin. And she'll get it for a 10 box. Great way to clean it up. Considering the first ball. 29 a fill for Holbrook, 19 after 2 for Poirier. Holbrook on his spare fill. He's coming alive here. That's a 7 fill on the head pin. Poirier's on the head pin as well with a split. Poirier 15 for 43 on head pins tonight. Holbrook 21 for 43 on head pins tonight. Holbrook will end the mark streak. It was a hard shot, admittedly, but so it goes. Kristen Poirier on the 3-6, leaving the 7-9. Holbrook goes for a 10 box and will take 8. That should put him at 44 after 3. Poirier, meanwhile, will take an 8 box for 27 after 3. Give you a score update here. 27 to 44. Poirier to Holbrook. 2 boxes to go before they sit and we start talking about the final halves. Holbrook off the head pin, dropping 6. Or just off target from the head pin. Kristen Poirier, similar story on the 7 pin. Holbrook trying to make a nice spare out of this, but he'll hit the head pin and get nothing else. And Poirier will connect with pins. And wow, more pins are falling than I thought would fall. No mark though. Holbrook will take a 7. 51 after 4. Kristen Poirier on the 6 and the 10. And she'll take that 10 box for 37 and 4. In terms of the fill matrix, Kristen Poirier has 18 and Holbrook is 41. Poirier is averaging 6 per fill. Holbrook is averaging 6.8 per fill. It's a stat update for you, provided by the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Steve Kelly on the call for Todd Holbrook, Kristen Poirier, John Alosa, and Paul Metivier. That's an awkward array of pinfall for Todd Holbrook, and Kristen Poirier's on the head pin with a spread eagle 4 drop. Holbrook 1, 2, 7, 8, 10 for a spare shot. Misfire to the right, no mark. Kristen Poirier all the while working on it. She'll take a few pins out. That's about it. 2, 4, 7. Holbrook. He'll settle for a 9 to end his half. End his half was 60, I believe. Waiting on the scores for that. That'll be an 8 box for Kristen Poirier. Kristen's at 45 and 5, and Holbrook's at 60 and 5. Oops. That was the screen I meant to go to. Again, Holbrook 60 and 5, Poirier 45 and 5, Metivier 53 and 5, Alosa 54 and a ball and 5. We're ready to start the final second halves for all of our bowlers here tonight. So Alosa opens up with an awkward, what appears to be a 3 drop. And Metivier misses the head pin. Alosa going for a spare, can't quite convert. Metivier, same idea. Both bowlers getting a little bit robbed here. And Alosa's trying to get a 9 box, trying to get 10 box, will sell for 9. Metivier, same idea. And he'll get by with a 9. 66 and 6 for Alosa, 62 and 6 for Metivier. Alosa's totaling 103 in fills tonight. Metivier 74 in fills. Alosa averaging 6.9 per fill. Metivier averaging 6.7 per fill. Alosa on the nose drops 8. But he splits though. Metivier missing the head pin and dropping 7. Alosa on the 4-10. Beans the 4, leaves the 10. Metivier on the 1-3-7 now. He'll fire. And he'll get it. Pretty shot. Pretty shot for Paul Metivier. Alosa will take a 10. So, folks, since we're kind of just towards the end here, I want to give us a couple of shout-outs to a couple of folks that make everything possible here, like our ACST League Commissioner, Danny Finn, our Class B Treasurer, Corey Lisi, Class E Treasurer, Maurice Perry, and Alosa with another spread eagle. And Metivier just off target. That was a fill of 3. Alosa gets by with a few more pins down. Metivier, no mark, no such luck either. Alosa for the 10. Take a 9. Metivier will take a 9 as well for 84 and 8. 85 for Alosa. 84 for Metivier, and I am going to pause for score corrections because something still isn't right down there, and I'm waiting to figure out who's right and who's wrong. John Alosa should have an 85. It currently has him at 84. Paul Metivier should be at 84 and 8. Paul's is correct. John's is now correct. Okay, now we're in sync. It's hard to tell when they're done score correcting or not, and there's like a pile of people down there, so. And it looks like we're all good. Well, still doing some lane maintenance. Anyways, yeah, so let's talk about a couple things like the Candlepin multiverse, such as Candlepin Bowling Network, at Candlepin Bowling on TikTok, Candlepin Bowling Corner on YouTube, the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour on Facebook, Candlepin Chat, Alley Chat, and we'll get back to that in just a moment. John Alosa on the headpin with a split. Metivier, he fires to the left of the headpin, gets by. Alosa, 7-9-10, 3-6. No such luck. Metivier on the left side, half Worcester. He misfires a little bit. Alosa on the 3-7 for 10 box. He'll go for a 9. Metivier versus 4 horsemen and 2 sleepers. He'll take 8. 92 and 9 for Metivier, 94 and 9 for Alosa. And that is correct. Just took a minute, wanted to make sure it was all correct. John Alosa doesn't connect with the headpin, but does take the split eventually. The rare situation where you miss the headpin, but still get a split out of it. Metivier, rough first ball, taking just 2 out. Alosa for the spare leave conversion. He doesn't get it. Metivier punches another. That was a frustrating second ball. Alosa will finish with a 9. 5-game total of 564 for Alosa. And that 8 box for Metivier puts him at 100 for a 5-game total of 532. I believe. 103 to 100, that is confirmed. That is confirmed, so I believe if I kept up with everything, John Alosa is at a 5-game total of 564 over Paul Metivier's 532. And we'll assess the point differentials at the end of the match. But anyways, we will move on, of course, to our Class E bowlers. Just a moment, but before we do, actually, let's take a look again at the socials. Candlepin Chat on Facebook is the most active for discussions and finding out when stuff is happening or the latest news about whatever. AlleyChat.net has got you covered for Friday Night Pro League updates, as well as classic Candlepin shows and stuff on their YouTube channel. Also, Wolfman12395 on YouTube and the Candlepin Bowling channel on YouTube. Great for old Candlepin shows from way back in the day. And it would be great if you could check it out. Keep everything going. Keep the conversation going. And that's Kristen Poirier and Todd Holbrook both missing the headpin. They were at 45 for Poirier at the half and 60 for 5 for Holbrook at the half. Now they're bowlers with marks here. They're shooting for 10 boxes now. Kristen Poirier for a 6-box minimum. And we'll take an 8. Holbrook, meanwhile. Bit of a bouncy ball, but it might end up being a 10, and it will be a 10 for Todd Holbrook. Todd Holbrook, 70 and 6. Poirier, 53 and 6. That is confirmed. Poirier 16 for 46 on the headpin. That's now 17 for 47. Holbrook 21 for 47 on the headpin and 15 for 47 on splits. And Holbrook and Poirier both with half Worcester with spread eagles. Two dueling eagles down there. Caca. Kristen Poirier to the right of the target. Hits the 10-pin. Roadkill. And animal cruelty going on down there. Holbrook will take out the 3 and the 6. Inverse of what Kristen Poirier did. Kristen Poirier for, oh boy, she'll take a 5 box. Holbrook will take an 8 box. 58 and 7 for Poirier, 78 and 7 for Holbrook. Appreciate you watching, and again, I thank our ACST League Commissioner Danny Finn, Corey Alisi, our Class B Treasurer, Maurice Perry, our Class E Treasurer, ACST Stats and Numbers crunched by Micah Imperato, Brian Heber for advice and direction on design and other various things. That's a headpin shot for Todd Holbrook. Kristen Poirier working on a five drops, 4 horseman right side situation. She doesn't convert for the mark. But Holbrook, meanwhile, he's got a single pin spare. Will he get it? He will not. Kristen Poirier for the 1-8-10. And she'll clean up for a 9 box. And Holbrook will miss again for another 9 for 67 and 8. 87 and 8. Kristen Poirier's at 67 and 8. 2 boxes to go before we close out. Kristen Poirier will open up on lane 16. On the head pins, 7 drop, 8 drop. Todd Holbrook. He's on the left of the head pin in the back corner. Holbrook 18 for fills tonight. Holbrook is 41 for fills tonight. Poirier 18 for fills tonight. Poirier just missing that spare. Poirier averaging 6 per fill. Holbrook averaging 6.8 per fill. Holbrook misses his spare as well, leaving the 1, 8, and the 9 on the deck. Kristen Poirier will miss that single pin for a 9. And Holbrook take an 8 box. 95 and 9. 76 and 9 for Poirier. Poirier's 18 for 49 in the head pin tonight. Holbrook is 23 for 49 in the head pin. Poirier with 15 splits. Holbrook 16 splits. And that's Kristen Poirier with an 8 drop. Didn't connect with the head pin, but got a nice drop out of it. And Holbrook, same idea, but a 6 drop instead of an 8. Final spare leaves for the night. Kristen Poirier on the 1 and the 3. She'll get by, leaving the 1 and the 3 on the deck. No mark. Holbrook, the 1, the 2, the 6, and the 10, spare leave. Holbrook on lane 15, he fires. And he'll nearly get it. The 10-pin wiggles. He touched all the pins. Unfortunately, it just didn't go. Kristen Poirier for an 8, 9, or 10. Possible 86 game. She'll take 85 with that 9. And I think he called no good. I'll just double check. Looks like he's score correcting. So Kristen should have an 85, but I gave her an 84. I will hold until they score correct it, but that might end up being what it is if they don't adjust it. So, okay, it'll be 84 then. Still just pausing for a moment, just make sure no one catches that or anything, but it appears that's what it's going to be. All right, so to size up everything, John Alosa finishes with a 5-game total of 564 over Paul Metivier's 532. In the 5th game, John Alosa had 103. Paul Metivier had 100. John Alosa had 103, 122, 110, 126, and 103. Paul Metivier had 107, 114, 105, 106, and 100 for Kristen Poirier had a 91, 79, 83, 94, and 84 for 431. Todd Holbrook had an 87, 86, 87, 91, and 104 for a 5-game total of 455. And let me just give you the stats for everybody here towards the end. If I can remember to scroll down correctly. Here we go. So here's your final stats. So Alosa will take 12 over Metivier's 2. Holbrook will take 10 over Kristen Poirier's 4. And in terms of the superlatives, John Alosa had 2 strikes and 13 spares. Metivier had 3 strikes and 9 spares. Perfect box percentage actually goes to Metivier because he had more 10s than John Alosa, 13 and 9, and just a combined more complete boxes than Alosa. But it all comes down to the game totals. And so Metivier will move to 12 and 16. Alosa will go to 25 and 3. For Class E, Kristen Poirier will take 4 points. Todd Holbrook will take 10. And Kristen Poirier will move to 14 and 14. Todd Holbrook will go to 16 and 12. Perfect box percentage goes to Todd Holbrook at 22% tonight. 4 spares, 2 strikes, 5 10s. Kristen Poirier, 0 strikes, 3 spares, 5 10s. And that should just about do it for us at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for Class B and Class E North for the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I've been Steve Kelly, and for John Alosa, Paul Metivier, Kristen Poirier, and Todd Holbrook, we'll be signing off, and we'll see you at the next Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I hope you can strike, comment, and subscribe to all of our socials and the like on the internet for Candlepin Bowling Fun, and also check out candlepinsforcancer.com. If you want to sign up for qualifying roll-offs, such as the upcoming NE Doubles in Scarborough, Maine at the Big 20 Bowling Center, we appreciate that. Or if you just want to donate, skip the bowling, whatever you want to do works for me, and it is a great cause for bowlers in need of cancer treatments and payments and that kind of stuff. You know how all that goes. And also check out candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. I'm telling you, if you think you can bowl better than anyone you saw tonight and you want to try it out, check this out and take a look at that map. Go to candlepin.org. I invite you to check it out. Anyways, I've been Steve Kelly, and for everyone here at Leda Lanes, have a great one, everybody.